Welcome to the Business Credit and Financing Show. Each week, we talk about the growth strategies that matter most to entrepreneurs. Listen in as we discuss the secrets to getting credit and money to start and grow your business. And enjoy as we talk with seasoned business owners, coaches, and industry leaders on a variety of topics from advertising and marketing to the nuts and bolts of running a highly successful business. And now, to introduce the host of our show, financial expert and award-winning author, Ty Crandall.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. I'm really glad you could join us. So today we're talking about real estate. Most importantly, we're talking about how to get into the real estate industry. And if you're already in, how to be able to perform at an absolute peak top level. I mean, we're talking about how the winners really win in real estate. The statistics are crazy. Like almost 9 out of 10 real estate agents that get in fail in the first 5 years in the industry. And we don't want that to happen to you. So with us today is an expert that specializes in training this entire industry to helping them become one of the 10% that doesn't just succeed, but succeeds at a really, really high level. So with us today is Stacy Barenfuss. Now, Stacy, otherwise known as Stacy B. She's the founder and CEO of Catalyst Group and creator of Limitless Realtor Circle, a professional training program for real estate agents or for realtors. Stacy started a real estate company at the early age of 19 and sustained her company through the housing crisis of 2007 to 2010 and continued to scale her business beyond the 7-figure mark to become one of the top performing real estate agents or teams in the state of Idaho. Now, Stacy brings unique perspectives to the real estate world as her experience is vast, and she has been a single agent, has run a large team, and has operated as a designated broker for Catalyst Group as a brokerage as well. Now, she's personally funded a development project consisting of 11 upper-tier new luxury homes while still operating her real estate team at Catalyst. And in a traditionally male-led industry, Stacy has paved the way for other female leaders leveraging her intuition and over a decade of experience in meditation, personal development, and results coaching. Stacy, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's my
Well,
pleasure.
I'm really glad you could be here because, like I said, one of my friends was interested in real estate, and I thought, man, what's the turnover in that industry? And I researched it the other day, and it's staggering. Like most people that get in your industry do not make it. And congratulations to you on helping the others succeed.
Thank you so much. I know it's frightening that so many get in, and because they don't have a foundation or a path to follow, unfortunately, the large amount does fail.
Do you think that's it? Is that a lot of the ones that get in don't have a proven system to follow? They're just kind of thrown in and the turnover is so high that the brokers that they're under don't really pay much attention to them to kind of carry them along?
Yes, definitely. I think that because, you have to go to real estate school for a short amount of time, and then you have to rely on, a broker coming in or a team leader coming in, presenting, a great sales pitch to have agents join their team or brokerage. And that's a lot of times where it stops. And I think that if we had a step, in between real estate school and joining the brokerage where they could establish that business owner foundation that's truly missing so that no matter which brokerage they choose, they have that plan of attack, I do believe that would solve the, failure rate in the industry.
So it sounds like there's this gap in education that realtors get. So where is that? What do you think accounts for that gap of knowledge that you all get in school and the knowledge you actually really need to perform at a high level as an agent?
Yeah, so I think that the gap, going back to real estate school, so much of that is about the state licensing laws that unless you get into hot water, you may not ever actually use it because it's, what not to do and what to do to be a great agent and be by the book. And the gap really is, that what does your daily schedule look like? What does your, metric system look like? How do you take care of your clients? So I think that really is, it's not talked about at all unless you align with a company that offers training. But what I really want to see, and that's what our program is about, is how to sell to that gap and actually provide a system that the agents will use versus it being, tailored to the brokerage that they choose.
So in your mind, they really need training in between school and even starting at a brokerage.
Correct. And what that looks like is, what kind of business do you want to build, and learning how to do that as it relates to the real estate industry and the structures you need to have in place to serve your clientele at a high level.
Stacey, how much of this is mindset? How much do you see that the mindset really plays into the ability of an agent to succeed?
I mean, like anything, I would say it's 90% mindset, 10% tactics. And that's why, we spend way more time on that than the actual execution of the tactics.
And when it comes to mindset, what kind of pitfalls do people get into? Because it's a tough industry. It's hard to separate yourself from competition. I think that's why so many don't make it. But how do you get somebody into the right mindset? What's the right mindset for somebody to really succeed and really, knock it out of the park, succeed?
Yeah. So the first thing is to focus on what their vision is for their business and what they want to build. And if you can really tie it into the vision and connect to that and, be able to go back to it when you get knocked down along the way, that will carry you through good times and bad. The other thing with mindset is understanding what fear really is. In the real estate industry, the commission only sales type, position, there's a lot of fear of, making decisions based upon how I'm going to make that next sale or get that next commission versus what's best for the client, which has in turn, affected the industry's reputation over time. And so understanding that fear is, always going to be there, but something that you can, you don't have to choose fear. You can make another choice, which is, connecting to that vision, staying connected to what your goals are, and staying in the mindset of, I'm here to serve and actually, deliver a great experience to my clients, put myself in their shoes. And if you have that, servant mindset, it allows you to make decisions from that connected place versus fear, which can then cause a lot of chaos.
Can somebody, is that something that somebody can acquire? Because this is what I think. I heard a lot of people I hear come into real estate, come into it for the wrong reasons. It's to make money, to work their own schedule, which for me are the wrong reasons. They're really not there to serve, right? And I think you've succeeded, I've succeeded because we understand the difference of really doing it to serve, and because you probably really love real estate. I see a lot of people get in, don't even like the industry. They just want to make money and do their own schedule. So can you flip a switch? Can you help coach them into a mindset of really wanting to give and being in it for the right reason and liking real estate and being there to serve and help? Or is it just certain people have that mindset and other people just don't?
Yeah, I definitely have had experiences where, we've been able to flip that switch for people. And in those experiences, I look back and ask myself, what were those things that were different about those people or about the circumstances that allowed them to switch? And as basic as it is, it's simply the decision to look at it in that way. And, so often we think that, we're stuck in what we believe and how we are. And, this just isn't for me. But there is that other side where if you want the opportunity to serve, which in turn is a higher level of success, all you have to do is decide that that's the path you want to make. And, those teachers will show up as the student is ready, as they say.
Makes sense. What about mindfulness and meditation? I think it's interesting in your bio that you bring those type of things in. How do you kind of teach people those two things? How do you teach them the importance of meditation and mindfulness in their practice?
Yeah. So the importance of my daily routine, every success and all that I've built, I relate back to and give my morning routine, that credit. And that morning routine, consists of meditation, gratitude, and I can, go into that more later. But the importance of mindfulness and meditation in business it's so important because you are able to attain a clear and calm inner state, which allows you to make decisions at a different level and allows for you to be more of an observer instead of being in it and making decisions, from that lower level of thinking and consciousness that you don't operate from if you take the time to be, mindful and practice meditation. And so a simple practice that, people can take away from this show even is set your phone timer for 3 minutes. You can do this in between meetings. You can do it in the morning and simply take conscious breaths for 3 minutes. Your mind is going to run. That's never going to go away. But it's something that you can start to practice. And, for 3 minutes, make, your exhalations double your inhalations. So for example, count for 3 while you inhale, and when you exhale, count for 6. And that small practice for 3 minutes, you will see such a change in interactions and success just by doing that.
That's interesting. You touched upon it a little bit. I'm interested. What is your morning routine?
Yeah, so I call it the triple threat, and I'm all about peak performance and, how can I get there quicker, faster, and be better along the way. And so the triple threat is that 3-minute meditation that I just touched on, writing down 3 things I'm grateful for every day, and then studying my short and long-term goals, which is, 3 short, 3 long, so that I'm always connected each day to that bigger picture and centered on making sure that my day is supporting those short and long-term goals. And so that's the triple threat, that short meditation, focusing on what I'm grateful for, and then focusing on those 3 long and short-term goals.
How much time do you usually dedicate the mornings to doing that?
So typically, if I'm doing it fast track, 15 minutes. And then if I have a little more time, I also like to, do my reading in the morning, learn something. So I'll dedicate 30 to 45 minutes in the average day when I'm not short on time.
That's cool. I'm interested. What time do you usually start your day?
Between 5:30 and 6. I'm trying to get to 5, but yeah, just 5:30 and 6 is my sweet spot.
What time do you go to bed at night?
Anywhere from sometimes as late as 11, but 10:30 to 11. I find that 6-hour sleep schedule is my sweet spot.
Yeah, very uncommon for women. Usually women require more sleep, a little bit more sleep than men. So that's cool. That's awesome that you can stay up that late and get up that early. What about, other ways that leaders can lead? What do you find with real estate team leaders, managers, brokers? What are some things they're doing that you really don't feel is empowering the agents that are under them that they could do better?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I actually had a live situation happen yesterday on this topic. So I'd love to give this example because it's a great one. So we were interviewing an agent to, she was interviewing us, we're interviewing her, right? It's always a 2-way street. And she let us know that she was going to be talking to 6 to 7 other brokers and team leaders. And when she came back to me, she said that out of all of those, I was the only one that actually asked her about her goals. Every other team and broker talked about what they're going to do, their success, how great they are. And so what I would say that everyone could work on is the more that you realize your investment in your people, asking them about their goals, why they're doing what they're doing, if you focus on that, their success equals the team's success. And having that bigger picture mindset is something that I feel like team leads, brokers could really improve upon, because if you change that, flip that switch, it's a complete game changer where you're focusing on empowering them. You're focusing on making sure they have the tools, to be successful, whether that's how to call, what scripts to use, how to retain their clientele. That's your focus, not so much, on yourself and what you're doing. And so I think that's such a game changer if it could be focused upon is, finding out from your people and the agents that you're working with what they really want. And if you can truly help them reach their goals, because that's something I feel really strongly about is, not everyone is a fit for our sandbox, as I say. And it's my duty as the leader to make sure that anyone I allow in the sandbox is someone that can be successful with us from their perspective, and also we can be successful with. And just taking that extra time to look at it that way, I think could really help things overall improve.
Now, you succeeded. I mean, you were 19 when you got in this industry. And I think from what I've read, that was a time where the economy was about ready to get bad. Could be wrong on that. But how did you do it? I mean, what do you feel looking back really gave you what you needed to succeed through everything, whereas so many others didn't make it?
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time on my mindset. And just to actually back up, that was, 2006, 2007. I was in a new area, didn't know anyone. And obviously we know the crash happened in '08 and beyond there. So the secret sauce was I spent a lot of time on my mindset and connecting, like I said earlier, to what my goals were and reminding myself throughout the day of those, because it was a crazy time. Agents that had been in the business for decades were getting out of the business. And here I am, a new agent trying to figure out, what a script is. And so that extra, focus on mindset just prepped and primed myself each day to weather the storm. The other piece is I worked a system where I said, okay, I'm going to throw out the net, as wide as I can and contact all types of different leads. So at the time, for sell by owners, expired listings, builders, developers, subdivision farming. I mean, every possible, avenue I was pursuing. And I started to get traction in multiple. And as time went on, I then focused in on the 3 that were my top, which I enjoyed the most and were where, I felt like I could serve people at the highest level. And so that same plan is what my team uses today. So, and it's a fantastic, crazy busy market. And so, the message behind that is if it's a good market or bad, use that basic system and you will see your business grow leaps and bounds no matter what kind of storm we're in.
That's interesting because, and this is one of the questions I want to ask you about. Do you choose kind of a niche before you get in? Because a lot of people are more of a sniper approach. You come in, you choose the niche, you go down that road and you blow it out with builders, for example. But, then the other, what you're talking about is more of a shotgun approach where you're just hitting all these different segments, find what you like, find where you gain traction and go down that route. So do you think that that's the better approach than the sniper target where you come in and say, I'm going after commercial real estate, and you go all in on that niche just to kind of cast the wider net and then use that net to see what you attract and then narrow it down from there?
Yeah, so today I definitely believe in the sniper approach. And so what I teach people is don't choose more than 3. I obviously explaining my, experience, I had way more than 3. And I think that slowed me down in certain ways, but because of the times, it worked, right? But now I suggest don't do more than 3 and hone in on 1 if you can hone in on 1. The sooner that you can get specialized, the more you stand out next to your competition, and you partner that specialization with fantastic customer service. That's how you become, in the top 1% of all real estate agents.
Now, what do you do? And that's great advice, by the way. I love that because it makes sense to me. But how do you figure out what niche you want to be in? Because there's so many things that you could do, right? You could focus on residential. You could focus on new construction. You could focus on commercial. So do you have any advice for people that are trying to figure out which one of those niches that they may fit best in?
Yes. My advice is to pursue what you truly enjoy. And what I mean by that is don't try to be something that you're not. If you are a socialite, you love, going out, seeing your friends, etc., it might be a good option to pursue networking as your avenue. If you are, maybe not as social, you like that bottom line, you like, that your high driver personality, the new construction avenue, development avenue might be better suited because it's much more black and white, bottom line, all about the numbers. And so that's my one piece of advice is to really get your awareness about yourself and what you enjoy, because the more you can build your business around that, the more it will be sustainable long-term and you will love it because you're in your zone of genius versus trying to be something that you're not.
And now a quick word from our sponsor.
Hey, it's Ty Crandall with Credit Suite, and many of our subscribers want to get the most money for their business at the best terms. Whether you're looking for money to start your business, get low interest rate loans and credit lines, or build your business credit, we can help. Give us a call today at 877-600-2487 or visit us online at creditsuite.com/get funding to see how much money you can get for your business right now. What about this? You purchase development. You build 11 custom homes. You just bored. I mean, that's crazy. That seems like such a risky endeavor to take on. And it takes such courage to be able to do that. So what made you go down that road to try something like that? 'Cause it seems like something completely new and exciting.
Yeah. So, and it was, I've worked with developers and builders over the years, but have not done that. I've done different flips and things like that, but nothing of that caliber. And, behind everything that I do, the underlying message of, what I want to be remembered for when I'm gone, my legacy work is breaking it down simply so that people can see they can do it too. And so that's behind everything that I do. So when I had this opportunity to do this development, it's that kind of next challenge. I was looking for that next step. And also I wanted to have a tool within my team and to be able to share, as I am today with others of, this is how simple this process can be, because it's super daunting to people. It's like, how do you go and buy land, build 11 houses? How do you get there's so many questions, the financing, the timeline, et cetera, the capital. I could go on. And so that was, the driver behind it. And I didn't have, frankly, any of the answers when I started the process. And it was such a testament to be able to share to people. You don't have it all figured out. You just have to get started. And in that getting started through resources, through relationships, you're able to figure out the best solution for whatever the project is.
What are some of the biggest lessons you think you pulled out of that experience?
Oh, so many good ones. I'm actually writing a book, which I'll tell you about once it's finished.
I could hear about that too.
Yeah. So the biggest lessons, were definitely around faith and the new level of believing in myself. You have self-confidence, and then you have almost that next level certitude where no matter what comes at you, invincible in a sense. That next level was definitely what I took away from it, because when I went into the project, our market is so strong that it was maybe a 6 to 9 month project. And it ended up being 2 years, and a pandemic hit, and all of this stuff that I couldn't have predicted. But the faith aspect, that, self-confidence aspect, of course, compassion for builders and developers, because, you always, for us as real estate agents, I often will get to closing and be like, how did that builder, miss that budget item? Like, don't you have those budgets lined out before, and it's just so easy in the new construction and building space. So much changes house to house that, you do one change on the countertops in this house, it affects everything else that you do. And so just, compassionate in that way. And then I think the last, big learning piece was just how much women need to break into this space, and how possible it is to do that, not only for women, but for everyone else. If there was a system, I think that's consistently what's missing, is that system. So that's also what, we developed over the 2 years, so that we could pass that on to people, so they wouldn't have to go through what we went through.
Stacey, I've seen that in a lot of the research I've done on you, is that you specialize in helping women succeed in this industry. And I'm surprising, I didn't realize this was a men dominated world. I think I just assumed that real estate was more of a woman dominated world. What's the deal with that? Is it really an industry that's typically dominated by men versus women? And what are you doing to kind of lift up and help empower the women that you help serve?
Yeah. And it's interesting, just because I thought the same as you, especially early on, because, as a woman in this industry, if I'm challenged by, a man in a negotiation or something like that, for me, it's like, it's just part of it, right? It's not like this is segregated in that way. But yes, it's definitely male dominated, especially in the development construction side of things. And, I think more than ever, it's so important that women, raise their voices and step into these things they're interested in, because the guys, they need our help in the steps in the flow of the process and making sure that it is, more seamless, where they're good at action, the building, like getting into the facts of it, where there's just such a need in this aspect of the industry to almost have that beauty of the process, if that makes sense. But it's definitely, male dominated, and it's such a great opportunity for women to step up and lean in, because there's just a goldmine waiting for them to, express themselves through the design of the houses, through the execution of it, through the teams that they build.
What do you think? And you mentioned this earlier, you're really talking about raising the standard in the industry and really owning your customer experience. So what are the things that you advise the agents in your practice about? Like, how do you do that? What kind of special things do you do that's outside of the industry norms that you really see as a way of improving the customer experience that people have when shopping for a home?
Yeah. So the things that we do and that I encourage, number one is to remember that you are the leader of this transaction, of your client. So often agents will go out to a property to list the property for sale, and the seller is telling them the price they want to list it at. You go to you don't go to your dentist and tell him which teeth to pull, right? You're going to that specialist. So you need to remember that, because even if the seller has input in the total price, it's their choice at the end of the day. You acting as that confident leader sets the bar so much higher that they feel a comfort, they feel a confidence in you, that they can, trust you, that the process is going to go well, that, you are going to run into challenges, but you're going to get through them as a team. So I think that number one is acting as that leader and really becoming, that force of nature, if you will, in the relationship with the client. The second thing is to look at each situation as you only have one chance to make a great first impression. That is so important from the standpoint of how you present your properties to the public, photography, descriptions, completion of the information, to the relationships with your real estate agents, the professionals in the field. All of that, is a part of, you only have one chance to make a great first impression. So I think, those two things are strong ways and strong foundation points to build everything else upon, being that leader and also having that commitment to excellence and quality through everything that you do.
You are a really positive person. How do you manage your positivity? I mean, we talked a little bit about your morning routine, meditation, some of those things, but what are some other ways that you do to really make sure that you're always in a positive mindset?
Yes. So as I mentioned, the morning routine, that's a huge piece. And relying on that routine, if something happens throughout the day, is something that, isn't discussed very often, and something that I do. If I have deal go sideways or an issue with a team member, I will do that, short version of the morning routine throughout the day, because it centers me to, get my game face back on. So that's a part of it. The other thing is looking at life, from the standpoint of, we get the opportunity to be better each day than we were the day before. We have an opportunity to, take another swing, have an at-bat. And it's our duty to play full out and play at the highest level of our potential, because of why we were put on this earth. And so I think from that perspective, the little things don't get at me as easily, because I am connected to that higher purpose of, it's my responsibility to impact these people and to show them that they too can have this positive life, this, calm internal space that then, causes a ripple effect in their lives and families and businesses. So I would say that those are the key, pieces that help me stay in that frame of mind.
What do you do to help your team have the right positive energy, the right inner state? What kind of advice do you kind of give them to manage both their energy and their inner state?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is calling them out, quite frankly. When I hear them, for example, a team member recently, he was using the word frustrated a lot. This is frustrating. That client frustrates me. And I called him out and said, by you using the word frustration, you are telling me you do not have control to change it, which is not true, correct? And of course, he acknowledged that. So I think calling them out and helping them become aware of their blind spots, right? That's what leadership is. And so helping them see those blind spots is huge. And also reminding them, just going back to what I said earlier, of knowing what their goals are, reminding them of those goals day in, week in, week out, to keep them focused and connected to the same things I explained that I keep myself connected to. When they get off course, but they remember what their 10-year plan is, it's much easier for them to get back on course and deal with something, in a level-headed space versus if it's just that moment in that situation. They're looking at things more from a big picture.
How do you advise an agent to kind of be a magnet for more opportunities and different ways that they can get more clientele?
I would say focusing on, how you're showing up in the world for sure. People want to be around people that are positive, that are, successful, thoughtful, those positive attributes. So checking yourself, how are you showing up in the world, and clean that up, clean up tolerations, clean up anything that isn't matching who you are and who you want to become. That alone shifts opportunities in such a huge way to put you in that magnetic zone versus, the polarized effect.
What about advertising properties? Have you found some really cool tactics that work better than others with getting properties sold other than just kind of like listing on MLS?
Definitely. I think trying to look at each listing from the aspect of, how can I find a buyer for this? And also, how can I use this listing to leverage the success that I want to make? And so that's another one. We have a lot of triple threats in my team, as far as our lingo goes. But, for every listing, looking at it from the aspect of selling that property and also getting another listing, a buyer, and a referral. So that's that triple threat. So looking at it from that aspect, and then you get, that exponential result when you try to leverage a listing like that. So that's one way. And then, the other way is discussing with your fellow agents or networks, about the property and being more proactive versus just putting a sign in the yard, putting it on MLS, and, you're done. So having that proactive mindset.
I consider myself to be a marketer and a good copywriter, but man, the best copywriters I've seen are like agents, because some of these descriptions for properties are phenomenal. So I got to ask, like, how's that work? Does the agent usually write their own descriptions? And if so, like, how do you teach them to write so eloquently? Like, I see so many of these descriptions lay out. Is that like a template, or how's that process work? I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't think there is a template, at least, that we're familiar with. But, what we do is we make a list of, all of the different types of descriptive marketing words. And then we tell our team to focus on, well, it's 2 steps. Number 1, ask the client when you're listing the property what their 5 to 10 favorite things about the property are. And that helps bring through so much more about the property than if you were just sitting behind a desk trying to come up with something attractive or cool. So involving them in that process is super helpful. And the other thing is just to remember that the remarks is there to talk about the parts of the property that you can't see in other fields in the listing. So often, you see a property that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and in the remarks, it says this 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's like, there's already a field for the 3-bedroom and the 2-bath. So you don't need to repeat that. So speaking about, the unique characteristics and, talking about those different points that's not already described in the listing is the best practice.
Stacy, do you find that the really successful agents have certain qualities that other agents don't have?
It's interesting you ask that, just because I think that they have cultivated those things. I don't think that they were born with them. I always like looking at history, and, Abe Lincoln is one of my favorites. And it's like, if you look at any person that's been successful, history or currently, none of them started out with this rock star set of habits or this great mindset. It was built over time. And so I would just say that while there are those differences, it's something that can be cultivated and nurtured as well.
So, but being humble probably comes with that territory, I imagine. I mean, you have to come in with the mindset of being humble and willing to learn. I would imagine, based on what you're saying, that it'd be pretty hard to succeed if you don't at least have that.
Absolutely. Yes. Those are so important. And, just that attitude of putting your head down, doing that work, and not being, too high above anything else to do certain aspects of the transaction, to just keep committed to hard work and, working your plan more than anything.
The 2007 crisis, obviously, you were just getting in, as that was bad timing, by the way, probably. Good timing, could be good. I don't know. But what did you learn from that you think that will carry you through and help you in other recessions like the one that we're really getting into now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is how much I love recession markets. Only because when the market is good, everyone and their aunt, brother, uncle's cousin are getting into real estate. And when the market turns, we get the market share back. And so I would just say that I actually look forward to when the market turns, because you see who the players are, and you also see those players sharpening their saw to be better and to, adapt and change for the market. So I would say that's my biggest thing. And also the humility of, no matter the market, working that plan is what has helped us be successful. It's not something you do when it's a bad market or when it's a good market. It's your business and what you do every single day, every single year.
Stacey, as we get ready to wrap up, it's been phenomenal having you on as a guest today. What's some parting advice, maybe things I haven't asked you, or something you think is really important for anybody that's trying to break into real estate and be successful right now?
I think the biggest thing is remember to check yourself on why you're doing this, instead of getting into real estate because you can make a lot of money and you control your own schedule, because that is not how it is. It's like any other business, you have to have that structure in place. And so I would just say, really ask yourself those questions, and don't be afraid to reach out to other industry, leaders or people that you may be attracted to based on the way, that they run their business, whether it's their marketing or their market presence. Pick their brain. We are so willing to share and contribute. And that's something that, will really help as you set up your new business, to have that awareness and, research before you dive in, so you're doing it for the right reasons.
Where can everybody go to learn more and possibly get an opportunity to train under you?
Yeah, so because my last name is so difficult to say, as I spoke about earlier, everyone calls me Stacey B. So the website is limitlesswithstaceyb.com. That's the website that you can go to.
All right, perfect. Stacey, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Ty. It was my pleasure.
So everybody, make sure you go to limitlesswithstaceyb.com. It's limitlesswithstaceyb.com. I'll put this on the show resources page. So like I said in the beginning, it's unfortunate, but 1 out of 10 real estate agents makes it, the other 9 don't. And what's interesting here is that I really got a very good breakdown with Stacey of exactly what it takes to succeed and why other people don't. But she just scratched the surface. We only have limited time, right? There's so much other knowledge she has to share. So make sure you visit limitlesswithstaceyb.com. That's limitlesswithstaceyb.com to be actually limitless on what you can accomplish, to be able to find the proven path to success. One of my favorite quotes comes from Warren Buffett that says, it's good to be able to learn from your mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's mistakes, right? Well, Stacey has done it all. She's kind of been in all these different aspects and all aspects of the industry. She's been in multiple recessions now. She's done a lot. So it's better to get in and learn from what she's done and what she has to teach than try to shoulder this yourself. You can probably get yourself many years in advance knowledge just by doing so. So you do that by visiting limitlesswithstaceyb.com. So make sure you check that out, make that your action step to be able to succeed and crush it in the real estate industry. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you visit limitlesswithstaceyb.com.
You've been listening to the Business Credit and Financing Show with your host, Ty Crandall. Watch for our next episode to get even more insight on financing and growing your business. And don't forget to check us out online at creditsuite.com for even more business growth strategies.